Meanwhile, Bay Area renters tell us they're in desperate need of help. The cities of Tampa and St. Pete provided more money to renters this month, but it's now all dried up, and tenants say the rental assistance is simply not enough. In-depth reporter Mason Morrow is looking into this issue in our ongoing series, The Price of Paradise. Tonight, he met with Bay Area leaders and renters to figure out what more needs to be done and when renters can expect some changes.
Rents are going up all across the country, but in a place like South Florida, this is kind of the center of the universe right now.
A universe no renter in Tampa Bay wants to be in the middle of right now.
It's just frankly desperation for people.
This March is a busy one for renters trying to get by, and state and local leaders rushing to provide them with rental relief. $740 million in federal funds were designated to Florida for emergency rental assistance. Governor Ron DeSantis said in a press conference last week that money is available for tenants, but warned it won't solve the housing crisis.
And some of these local governments, they'll talk about, hey, the price of rent is going up, but then they don't let new construction happen the way they do. You have to increase the housing stock in the state of Florida.
As I ride around, I see projects that are going up right now under construction or starting to have tenants.
When newly elected St. Pete Mayor Ken Welch took office in January, his first focus was tackling the rent burden in his city.
I know that folks are really only a hospital stay or an accident away from being homeless.
The former Pinellas County Commissioner worked with his old colleagues this month to open up $18 million in the county's American Rescue Plan Fund for St. Pete renters.
It's really desperately needed. It's not a week goes by I don't talk to someone who's on the brink.
But that reliance on aid isn't sustainable.
As rent goes up, more and more people are being squeezed.
Nick Carey and other members of the People's Council of St. Pete met with Welch this month to share their ideas for helping renters.
We're just hoping that with more investment in the community, investment in housing, that we can both tackle kind of these short-term problems as well as build for the future.
Welch insists the long-term housing crisis needs to be solved through affordable housing. The city allocated more than $34 million to build affordable units in St. Pete, like Del Mar 745 and The Shores, both of which are opening this month.
Those have built in a affordable element for 30 years, in some cases 99 years. It has to remain affordable so that folks aren't spending more than 30% of their income for that rent.
If you build it, they'll come. So we can help them build it, they'll come.
Tampa City Council Chair Orlando Goods is taking notes from across the Bay. The city of Tampa made $5 million in rental and move-in assistance available this month, but it was quickly spoken for with more than 960 renters applying for the aid.
In a city of 400,000 people, it's nothing. It's really nothing.
Like Mayor Welch, Tampa Mayor Jane Castor set her focus on building affordable units. Castor set a goal of 10,000 affordable apartments by the year 2027. At the end of 2021, she announced the city hit 6,000 units. But inventory lags behind the number of renters in need of affordable housing. Good says the city needs to find a way to keep those renters in their homes in the first place.
We're going to have to craft something. Something's got to give.
His top solution is rent stabilization. The controversial form of rent control is outlawed by Florida state statute, but possible by way of a housing emergency declaration and voter referendum. Mayor Castor told reporters this month rent stabilization would hamstring development.
We can't be afraid of the developers. The developers can be our friend, but we got to compromise and work with them to see how we can get it done.
The city council can't be cowards. The excuse is that it would be too hard or that it would, open up to some sort of legal trouble, but really, if there's a will, there's a way.
Bratton Young of the Tampa Tenants Union says rent stabilization is on the minds of all Tampa renters, and it's the ultimate goal of tenants in his situation. But in the immediate, he's forming Tampa's own People's Council to work off the back of the Tenants' Bill of Rights ordinance that passed last week and further balance the scales between renter and landlord.
It's insane that it's been allowed to progress to this point. We're committed to stay in this fight until we actually see some meaningful change.
In Tampa Bay, I'm in-depth reporter Mason Morrow, ABC Action News.
And now here's tonight's Price Point. Local leaders search for more rental assistance dollars. Mayor Castor and Mayor Welch prioritize new affordable housing units. Tampa City Council Chair Orlando Goods and tenants are now pushing for that rent stabilization, and renters ask for further protection against landlords.